We're loving and hating and making scenes. Now we just see everything we believe.
Hello, what's going on YouTube fam? This is your boy J Money here, bringing you guys a discussion video. A very, very important discussion video. Now, it has been about a week since the Megaton promos have been revealed and announced and all that goodness. So I did my share of just surfing the internet and really just collecting people's thoughts on the cards as a whole. And to my surprise, well, actually to no surprise, the amount of responses that were really received were mostly positive and seem to be on this side of the cards fixing the game. Now, this brings up a much more broader topic that really needs to be discussed that I don't think anybody is really brought to light or really brushed up on. And that is just the overall problem with cards that quote unquote fix the game. One more thing, guys, before the video starts, I want to let you guys know that we are doing a giveaway for the 2019 Megatons. Assuming we hit 2,000 subscribers by August 24th. It's very, very easy to enter. All you need to do is be subscribed to the channel and comment Megatons down below. To be entered, you can't enter more than once, and I'll be able to keep track with this random number generator system that we got going on right here. So yeah, support your boy, and let's get right on to the video. Now, my personal opinion on these cards, as a lot of you know, I am a combo player, but as much of a problem as it will become, I also like the cards, and not for the reason that you may think. I like the cards for the fact that cards like these can also allow strong cards in the game to exist without the fear of them just getting banned or limited. Had cards like these have came out, much sooner, cards like Summon Sorcerers may not have needed to get banned. Cards like Nightmare Goblin may not have needed to get banned. Things like that. Because cards like that are just that strong. Again, cards like that, I feel like, if it means strong cards can actually exist without everybody demanding that that every good card in the game gets banned or limited, then screw it. I'll accept them. There's a huge problem with cards that people claim to fix the game. Now, this video got inspired by a few comments on YouTube from various different videos that I have seen. The first one will be right up on the screen. Free to read. Feel free to pause if you need some time to read it. As you can see, this person, believes that these Megaton promos can rebalance the format X and Y, but the comment to said commenter, well, he basically what started the idea for this video, and his response being, well, people that say things like this have no idea what they're talking about, because when you put cancer on top of cancer, you're not fixing anything, you're just creating a giant shit show. And so, that sparked the idea of video. And that is ultimately just cards that will quote unquote fix the game, cards that will seemingly fix the problem will inevitably become problems. That is the second comment that I'll just basically have put up. And the guy's right, cards that solve problems become problems. Cards that will quote unquote fix the game become one of the biggest problems in the game. The cards that you see before you will become as much of a problem as they solve. And that will be very apparent in a matter of a few months. The first couple of weeks, people are going to be excited about these cards, but over time, players will start to realize that, yes, these cards are really strong against some of the stronger decks out there. However, they will eventually start realizing, oh man, these cards are really, really strong against the deck I play as well. Like, incredibly strong. You know, probably even stronger against my deck than the deck I was intending on using him against. You know, that's how the cookie crumbles, you know. Cards that fix the game, in theory, are incredibly strong by themselves standalone and will probably just win you the game outright. Without you really doing much of anything. So, again, Max C is a very, very common example of what people believe would fix the game. So, let's go ahead and dive in. When you have cards like this, back to the comment before, you know, you're just putting cancer on top of cancer. You know, you're not really fixing the game, you're just creating more problems and you're putting band-aids on things, and you're not creating game fixers, you're just creating blowout cards that do nobody any favors. You know, people get a lot more undeserved wins, things like that. It's not even just these Megaton promos, again. It's cards like Max C, Red Reboot for back row decks. Again, I'm a combo player, but even I still know that a card like Red Reboot is still incredibly strong. And even though Solemn Judgment is at 3 copies, a card like Red Reboot will probably get me the game 9.5 times out of 10 if that card really resolves. I'll probably win that game. You know, and cards like Hatred that can just bounce entire backfields against that like Sky Striker can just, again, the game's not being fixed. I'm just winning games for free at this point. You know, the same, you know, there's no exception for these Megaton promo cards. You know, you just have a lot more single cards that just decide games by themselves, because cards that quote unquote fix games really just decide games on their own. And sooner or later, we will end up right back to a state where when Maxi was at 3 copies, we will end back up in a state to where when we see deck profiles and they hover over certain cards and they say, every time I saw this card, I won. I feel like we're about to get to that point where when you see, you know, every time I saw Nibiru, I won. Every time I saw, Dimension Shifter, the game was over. Things like that. You know, so yeah, they will eventually become a problem on their own, and then people will start, demanding that these cards get hit. There's another comment that I want to go ahead and post up. Actually, it is a 1-minute clip by MBT Yu-Gi-Oh! Subscribe to his channel, by the way. He's pretty entertaining. So, yeah.
It's nice to see that they've recognized the problem. The question then is this the correct way to solve it? And I think this is close. This is a good card, but at the same time, the combo decks can play this. Like, think about it this way. I'm playing Pendulum. I set up a board. My opponent, who is also on Pendulum, draws their opener. It's insane, but of course they can't play through Spheres plus Void Ogre Dragon plus whatever flavor of Guard Dragon shenanigan they've decided to end on, plus Endymion. So they slam down a Dark Ruler No More, and then they combo off. Then their unbeatable combo makes it onto the board. They attack their opponent's monsters. They don't kill them because damage is halved. Their opponent draws, and of course then cannot beat the setup. I don't dislike it, but it really does feel like it just changes the winner of the duel by virtue of drawing it. It's a great card, but it's extremely sacky.
Alright guys, so now that you've seen the clip, what he said really further inspired this video, and that is, well, cards like this kind of just seem like it just changes the winner of the card by whoever draws it. And, he's not incorrect. The card's, again, that strong, minimal check and balance, that's when you're kind of teetering on the edge of brokenness, when there's like not too much check and balance to it. Again, Nibiru, it almost seems like there's no check and balance, with almost no way to stop it. Looking at Server9's 1212's comment, subscribe to his channel by the way as well. He posted a comment that really reinforces the first couple comments, and that is the fact that, you know, just these cards, you know, yes, boards are an issue, but cards that win the game, you know, that are just win buttons, you know, cards like this, you know, also aren't healthy for the game either. That, you know, like you said, it's not the way to go. You know, you don't fight fire with fire. They will, you know, cards like these will also just remove interaction from the game, much like the boards that are being made. And, well, he's not incorrect either. So, yeah, now you got a big inherent problem on your hands to where, you know, let's take the best example we got going on. We got, let's go in reverse back to 2017, where Ash Blossom had come out. A lot of people were scared of this card. It was strong, but in the format it was in, it wasn't very good because Zodiacs could easily play around. So at the time, you know how cards like Effect Veiler, Joel Lockbird, Ghost Ogre, Ghost Reaper, Ash Blossom, and Cypher Impure Gamma. Now, a lot of people were defending hand traps for the longest time, saying that they put decks in check and they stopped tier 0 decks from happening. But when you fast forward later on that year to Full Power Spiral, well, what happened? People started playing 16 plus hand traps because there were just that many, none of them were limited, and things like that. And so people's decks got really, really clogged with them. And people just argued that, hey, the format calls for those hand traps and all that stuff. When in reality, those same decks could play them. Kind of like what MBT said about those Megaton promos. Spirals also played a ton of hand traps. So, you know, nothing was stopping them from using them as well. And you had a bigger problem on your hand because if you were not playing Spirals, if you were not playing against Spirals, so at the time it was, if it wasn't Spirals, you were playing against either True Draco, Trickstars, or Pendulums. Those hand traps kind of just shut the other decks down entirely. Like nobody was really playing. So, you know, and it got so bad to the point to where YouTubers were making videos, you know, addressing an inherent issue, and that is there's almost no counter to these hand traps. We need ways to deal with these hand traps. We need a way to stop these hand traps because they are getting out of control. And, you know, there were some people that were on another side of the argument saying, well, if, you know, the format calls for these hand traps, you know, to be played. But now fast forward to 2019, and the same number of hand traps are roughly being played, and not due to the format calling for the hand traps to be played, but more along the lines of, I can play these amount of hand traps because I have the space for them in my deck to fit them. And so now, hand traps are still an issue, so now we get a card like Crossout Designator, soon to come out, and that's going to be atrocious in mirror matches, but that's another topic for another video. Bottom line, when you have cards that supposedly fix the game, they become equally as much of a problem as the problem that they're solving, and will eventually have a lot of complaints behind. I have no doubt in my mind that these Megaton promos will, yeah, people are going to start complaining about these cards within the next 3 months because, you know, people will be complaining about how these cards are so oppressive, that how they feel like they can't play. And that'll ultimately discourage people from playing combo decks, which is a bad thing because no player should be discouraged from playing any deck simply because certain cards exist in the game. It's as I've said, I forget which video it was. If you have to deck build around your bad matchup, that's one thing. You know, you should be able to teeter your main deck just a little bit towards whatever your bad matchup is, if that bad matchup is a meta deck. However, if you have to literally deck build around a single card, that is a bigger issue. Because that's just indicative of just how strong that said card is and how game winning and game deciding that card is. And yeah. And so there's going to be people in the comments that says, well, just get good, just play around it, and all that stuff. But really, these cards aren't really all that interactive. All you really do is just resolve the card and play it. If it resolves, you win. If you don't see it, then you're just going to blame your loss on the fact that you didn't see the card and things like that. Because again, the card is that strong, or those cards are that strong, whatever. And on the receiving end, the better player will probably end up losing a lot of games because of these cards, saying, hey, well, I lost because my opponent opened this card. And so if I'm the combo player and I'm playing, I have to keep these cards in mind. So now I have to hope to God that, I open the outs to these said cards, or else I'll just automatically lose the game because these cards are blowouts. They decide games on their own, because again, they're just that good, that strong, limited check and balance. I'm talking about Nibiru in specific. The same thing goes with cards like Red Reboot. Again, I'm a combo player, and even I think that card should not exist. The card is like, okay, before Solemn Judgment went to 3, the card was super safe. It was so safe. I felt so safe when I saw that card in hand. And I forgot what video it was, but no card should make any player feel that safe. If you're feeling 100% at ease, then that just lets you know how strong the card is. It probably shouldn't be in the game. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are on this topic. Cards like these, because when you got a whole list of cards that potentially solve problems, you're not really solving and fixing formats. You're really just creating just a bunch of blowouts for every single deck to have to hard draw outs to, or else they just lose the game. And so now you have every single deck in the game just losing to blowout cards. And is the game really being fixed? Not really. I think honestly it would just create more unhealthy game experience, if that makes any sense. Because from what I'm about to see, the game isn't going to be fixed anytime soon. It's just every deck, instead of control decks being blown out because Red Reboot and Hates Grenades exist, every deck's getting blown out now we just have every deck that can just potentially just auto lose to single cards. So yeah, you get a win button, everyone gets a win button. That's basically what's going on. That's my 2 cents. I want some YouTubers to also make response videos to this and let me know what their thoughts are as well. I'd like to take a look at any potential response videos to this. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is J Money, and I am signing out.
Through the wastelands, through the highways, and